Welcome to this video. I'm going to show you how to get started with programming in Pygame Zero. So using a Raspberry Pi here, this is a Raspberry Pi 4, but this should work on any Raspberry Pi, mainly using the orb for the screen recorder that I'm using. It's a brand new install, so it's all standard software, the only exception being the screen recording program that's running. So start programming and you'll see there's new, which is the new Python editor to use and friendly editor. The first time you run it, it comes up with asking what mode to run it. And you can change the mode at any time. If you see there's a mode button on the main screen. In this case, we're going to create some code for Pygame Zero. So click on Pygame Zero. And off the screen, write your code here. And the hash indicates that's a comment, so it doesn't matter whether you leave that there or not. I'm just going to delete it. And for our very first program in Pygame Zero, literally, we can just type width, all in capitals, equals 800, which is the width of the window we created, and height, again, all in capitals, 800, so by 600. So this is an 800 by 600 window. Then click pay. It will tell you you have to save it first. And by default, it saves in /home/pi/mu_code. We'll leave it there for now. That's fine. And give it a file name. I'll call it first game. .py. Click save. And we're running it. And popped up is a blank screen, which is 800 pixels wide by 600 pixels high. Now, that might not look impressive, but tell you that is a very small amount of code to create your first window. And in fact, didn't even need these codes because these are the default values in Pygame Zero. But I think it's a good idea to specify them. Right, for the next part, we're going to need some files first. Now this is based on my book, which is Beginning Programming Pygame Zero, available from Apress. So I'm going to use the source code from there. If you just search for Apress Pygame Zero. Now, the book has literally only just been published and it hasn't yet put the download link. So by the time this video is up, then hopefully there'll be a download button on there. I click that and it should download. I've already downloaded it onto this computer. Some downloads. So I'm assuming this will download as a zip file. And the files we want are in chapter 3, and it's the images folder. You see there's quite a few in there. We won't need all of these at the moment, but if you want to copy the whole, just extract all those. Now, for Pygame Zero, all the images need to be in a folder called images in the as a subdirectory to where you, in this case, go to new code and images and turn off the full path because we already. Now go. code and images, download those images in here. The two aliens were there before, they were automatically created. I'll just get rid of those, we don't need those. And you can thumbnail view, you can see the pictures in here. So the first thing is we've got this background image that we're going to use, and then we've got a person who's facing in different directions and his feet are moving. So we're going to show you how we can create the background and animate this person walking. Remember the images folder of whatever your creating code. So now back to the first thing I'll do is just create a background image. Now I'm going to create this, so this is a variable called background image, which is going to have the name of the file that uses the background. And the first thing you might notice is quite a long file name. So I've created these as long file names because when you use the Mu editor, by default it will put all your games into the same. So this made it quite clear that this is part of the Compass game. You don't need to do this, you can rename it, shorten the file name to make it easy to use, but I'm just going to use the same file names in the book. So also notice I haven't put the file path in, or the suffix, which is .png in this case, because it's a PNG file. Now, in the older versions of Pygame Zero, it was not allowed, but you can actually put the full path name now in the latest version of Pygame Zero. So if you'd rather do that, you can do, and that obviously makes it easier if you wanted to separate your files into different folders or directories. So the background image, so that's just created it as variable. It's not actually going to do anything. And to have display it, we create a function, which we create the def function definition, and we draw. It has to be called draw. This is something that Pygame Zero will look for and automatically run. And it should run this approximately every 0.01 seconds, roughly about 60 times per second. We're going to use screen.lit and then the background. You see Mu automatically gives suggestions and hints on how to program, and the coordinates that we want the top left-hand corner of the image to be. So in this case, we've said, so lit means to copy an image to the screen. It's based on an old computer. And we're going to use the file referred to by the background image variable, which is Compass Game Background 01, position, top left-hand corner, 00. So the numbering scheme for Pygame Zero, and quite common with other programming languages that X0 and Y0 is the top corner. As you move to the right, X increases. As you move down, Y increases. This is sort of a flipped version of the Cartesian coordinates. Just remember that Y goes down. So even though the previous code actually stopped, we still need to tell Mu that we've completely finished with that by clicking stop. And now we click play again. Hopefully, yes, it comes up with a background image. So it looks like it's actually slightly off green in various places, but this is actually created from an image. It's not just a color. So that's, again, very short, small amount of code needed, and we're progressing through the game. We've now got a window, given it a background color, a background image, in fact, and we've only used 5 lines of code. So this is one of the things about Pygame Zero. You don't have to start writing lots of code to be able to do things. Stop that. So now we've got a background. Let's put a character on it. So in computer terms, you often refer to a character that would be part of the computer game as a sprite. And Pygame Zero actually calls them an actor. This is similar to the terminology that's used in Scratch. So I guess it makes it a little bit easier for those transitioning from Scratch to Python and Pygame Zero. So to do this, we create a new actor object. We're going to call it, in this case, player, and actor, and then the next file that relates to the actor image. As before, I'm going to use just the image name without the suffix and without the path. Again, as long as you're in a recent version of Pygame Zero, you can put the full path in if you want. Again, it's a really long file name, partly because of having multiple programs in the same folder, but also creating using a figure convention. I'm going to call it person. Down is because the character is as though he was moving down the screen, as in coming towards us, and 01 because I'm going to have some different images as he moves around. And then the position on the screen. So remember, I'm going to place them in the center of the screen, as you saw. That means moving along the x-axis. I'm going to move halfway, so the width is 800. We're going to move 400, and then down the y-axis, the height is 600 screen, so we're going to make it 300. Place him in the center of our window. Again, as before, this doesn't actually draw anything. For it actually to be drawn, it needs to be in the draw function called player.draw. This is going to come after the screen, so it's going to display the background image first, and then run the draw method of the player object, and that draws it on the screen. Play. Oops. So it shouldn't be 01. It should be just 1. So once you've got an error message here, no image found, like compass game person down underscore 01. Are you sure the image exists? If you go into the images folder, I realize it should be down 1, and this is the image I'm looking for. Corrected that. Stop. Play. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, it's positioned the character and the player in the center of the screen. And as you can see, only added lines of code. So it's allowing us to build this up just a step at a time. So the thing I'm going to do is show you to move the player around the screen. And So far I've used for function, so that's automatically called for you by Pygame Zero. There's another function called the update function, and anything you put in there will be run at approximately 60 times per second. So if we can look at the keyboard as well, we can see if the keys are being pressed, we can move in the appropriate direction. So within here, if we put if keyboard dot and then the key that's being pressed up, they're saying if the keyboard up button is being pressed, then we just need to move the character, the player one. So we player dot y, the y position of the player, minus equal. So decrement the player one y position by one, goes up. We can do that. The different key. For down, we would increase by one. For right, we will increase the x value by one. And if it's left, we'll reduce that by one. So we could click play now, and if you move the character, move the keys, you will see the player on the screen. First thing is that's incredibly slowly, so we can change those values. If you wanted it to move twice as fast, we'd just change all those values to 2. Moves a little bit faster. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there on this video. If you buy my book, then you'll see that it explains how to make a character by facing the directions. You see the image that we've created here showing which direction the character is going. Also, to show you how you can animate the legs so that it appears like that. You don't need to get a book. The source code is all provided, and that's available for everybody from the A-Press website, whether or not you bought the book or not. And show you the back in the zip file. Chapter 2. Chapter 3 is the one we're looking at here. We can load Compass Game Movement 1. If I extract that one file. Load that. As you can see, I've got a code in this just to change the direction of the actor as they move. to use a variable for the distance and the speed they would be going, and to see if they go off the end of the screen. And this is what that's movement 1, and then the book goes on to movement number 3. As you can see with that the legs are moving. So you can just download the source code, have a look at the code, see how it works, and of course I've explained more detail in the book if you do buy the book. Finally, I'd just like to show you what the finished game looks like for this particular chapter of the book. In this version, you can see that there's some text on the screen, and in the game there's instructions at the top of the screen which tell you which way you need to go. You can move around following the instructions. As long as you reach the destination before the timer runs out, then you get a point and the game continues. In the next chapter of the book, I expand on the gameplay, making it more interesting, adding obstacles and changing the timer. This video has been linked with the book and the game that's created in the book. Obviously, it would be great if you did buy the book, but I've also created some free resources, including a project that I created for a workshop for one of the Raspberry Pi birthday celebrations. So go to the website, penguintutor.com. Once that's loaded, go to the project section and you'll find my beginner's tutorial to Pygame Zero. This tutorial creates a simple game which is very similar to the compass game in the book. You can download all the resource files for this game, and there's a PDF with a worksheet that you can follow. As I say, it's a similar game, so it can be useful whether you have the book or not. I hope you found this video useful. In this, we've shown the very basic steps for starting programming with Pygame Zero. I plan to add some more videos like this in future. So if you'd like to see my future videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Penguin Tutor, and click the bell icon to get notified when I create a new video. Good luck with getting started programming with Pygame Zero.